So this Mark Carney guy's like he's gonna be the next leader of the Liberal Party and the next prime minister? Never voted in, never elected, just our next prime minister. I don't know about this guy. This is what some other people are saying. Let's take a look. Mark Carney, this is what he was saying. Now this is what they are saying. Let me know in the comments what you think about our next unelected prime minister, Mark Carney.
Our economy is very strong. Look, and I would say as well, our economy is stronger than the American economy.
So our economy was weak before we got to the point of these threats from President Trump. I want to be clear, and Canadians feel this, I want to be clear about the, quote, strength of our economy. Our economy over the last 5 years has been driven by a big increase in the labor force, which was largely because of a surge in immigration that is now trying to be controlled, and by government spending that grew over 9% year after year after year, twice the rate of growth of our economy.
Our economy is very strong.
So our economy was weak before we got to the point of these threats from President Trump.
All right, gang, it's all right. Like, Mark Carney is confusing. Like, which way is our economy? Like, this guy's a fool, man. It's a rouse. Like, ruse. We're being bamboozled right here by woke folk. What? God damn.
Oh, yeah.
Let's take a look and a listen to what some other folks have to say about possibly our next unelected prime minister, Mark Carney. Never elected, ever, to a position. God. Let's take a look.
I think that the scrutiny is certainly due on the prime minister on what he plans to do. He supported all of Justin Trudeau's spending. He says he's going to keep all of Justin Trudeau's out of control inflationary spending, while also investing more and simultaneously balancing the budget. This is Mark Carney's claim, and he's been unclear on how he's going to do that. The same kind of magical thinking we've seen from Justin Trudeau when he said that he would run 3 small deficits and then balance the budget by 2019. Mr. Carney has also said that he's going to eliminate the carbon tax, but has said that he's going to put in place a shadow carbon tax. That is absolutely sneaky, saying that they're going to put it onto people that make steel. Saying to one of your colleagues, Vashi, that that the steel isn't something that Canadians use, and so somehow taxing it is going to close the gap that they're looking to close with another carbon tax that will do nothing to save the environment, but do everything to make life more unaffordable for Canadians.
I'll try to put these clips into relevance, but right there, that was Mike Barrett, MP from Ontario, one of our favorites to watch. I like watching him, at least, so I show that on my channel as I'm learning about Canadian federal politics. Something else I learned, Michelle FERRERI is a firecracker. Let's check her out. Here we go.
You have to pay attention, folks. This is really, really important. Our futures depend on it. Our kids' futures depend on it. The single most compassionate thing a leader can do is make life more affordable. And Mark Carney has openly promised to make it less affordable. In fact, he's going to tax you into poverty even further. He's going to quadruple this carbon tax. He's in love with the carbon tax. He's renamed it. And he's going to package it in a different way. And then he's going to take away your rebate too. Conservatives prosecuted this carbon tax from day one, and now everybody knows it drove up the cost of every single thing in your life. Food, heating, housing. And then he has the audacity to attack Canadians that they don't care about the climate. Nothing could be further from the truth. Canadians are stewards, they're environmentalists, they care about their land, they take good care. You want to talk about real polluters in this world? It's not Canada that needs to look in the mirror. We are incredible stewards of the land. But what we aren't is we aren't able to take care of our families because Justin Trudeau and Mark Carney together decimated the value of our dollar. We are spending more in servicing the debt than we are on healthcare transfers. And it is under this man, Mark Carney. He is the real man here behind all of this economic chaos and vandalism that people are experiencing.
Including the board's decision to move the company's head office from Toronto to New York. A move that was made, the company says, because they wanted to have more access to U.S. capital, to American investors. They felt the best way to expand their operations was being based in New York. Carney was asked about that move last night. Here's what he said about his role.
I was chair of Brookfield Asset Management. I ceased to be chair on the 15th, I think, of January, when I announced for leadership. The formal decision of the board happened after I ceased to be on the board. I do not have a connection with Brookfield Asset Management. No longer have a role, obviously, as I resigned in the middle of January.
But then we've got this other piece, like from back in the vault. It's a couple years old, but it's Pierre versus Mark Carney, like head to head. And Mark Carney is not going to survive Pierre Poilievre in House Commons. He's just not going to. He won't have the resources that Trudeau had. Trudeau had like so many people to fall down on. Now, like Karina Gould, who is a sinister woman, she's not going to be there for Carney. She ran against him. Like CHYSTIA Freeland won't be there for Carney. Like, it'll be a different show. Guaranteed, kid. Guaranteed. It'll be a different show. We'll see. Anyways, this is Mark Carney versus Pierre Poilievre. Pierre Poilievre is, but he's the best chance we have at getting rid of this virus government. Let's check it out.
Do you support the Prime Minister's decision to veto the Northern Gateway pipeline, Mr. Carney?
I understand the veto of the Northern Gateway pipeline.
You support it?
Given both environmental and commercial reasons.
Do you support it?
I think it was sensible. I wasn't involved in the decision, but I think it was the right decision.
And yet your company has invested billions of dollars in oil companies in both Brazil and the UAE to buy pipelines. You bought billions of dollars of pipelines as a company in the last 5 years. Do you support those investments?
Mr. Poilievre, there is a global energy system, and one of the issues, I'm trying to explain a bit of how the economy works. One of the
Thank you so much.
Well, it may help. One of the issues for this committee in thinking about a sustainable transition.
Do you support it?
Where is Canada's role in those as energy transitions from fossil fuels to renewables? And in different jurisdictions, into different geography, it matters. It matters, and this is a fundamental point.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. This is a fundamental. You're finally getting to a point.
You've exceeded
that
the
is
time.
relevant to this committee's inquiry.
What you're saying is you oppose pipelines in Canada, but you support them in the UAE and in Brazil. That's what you've actually said.
There are specific.
That's your double standard.
It is not a double standard.
It is a double standard.
No, it's not.
You make billions of dollars off foreign pipelines, and you shut them down here at home, putting our people out of work.
That you are a representative of the Canadian people, and one of your responsibilities, including at this committee,
is to fight for Canadian jobs, and not foreign jobs like you.
Exactly, to fight for Canadian jobs, and the types of Canadian jobs that are durable and are going to move forward.
Right.
I grew up in Alberta. I know the innovative nature of that.
Well, go try to give that answer back in Alberta, because I grew up there too, and I can tell you the people. I can tell you the people of Alberta would be ashamed with the answer you just gave. That you would give billions of dollars to foreign pipelines while not allowing Canadians to build pipelines here at home. That is the kind of elite Davos hypocrisy.
Could I please,
Madam Chair? This is really unbecoming of a member to badger any witness. This is really, truly unacceptable.
continue, Mr. Poilievre.
Thank you. Mr. Carney, you've just said you support your leader's decision to kill a Western Canadian pipeline that ships the most ethical product in the world. Yet, you also support your company's decision to invest billions of dollars in foreign pipelines in Brazil and in the UAE. It's clear that this is not about the environment. If it were, you'd be consistent and you'd oppose fossil fuels everywhere. But you're happy to profit off of foreign fossil fuel companies while killing jobs among our own people. How do you address that flagrant hypocrisy? It smacks of the Davos elite at its worst.
Okay. First thing, absolutely, I support Canadian jobs, and I support Canadian jobs today and tomorrow. And in order to have those jobs tomorrow, what we need and what this committee can contribute is an energy transition. The Canadian fossil fuels, Canadian companies will play an essential role. Brookfield itself is heavily invested in Canada, including in energy infrastructure for fossil fuels, but it's also, and we connect collectively as Canadians, and we look to our parliament to support this, need to be putting in place the energies and industries of the future. That means carbon capture and storage. That means blue hydrogen, and both of which are absolutely essential for Canadian jobs in my home province of Alberta, and that's where the future lies. Now, we need to have the overall picture, which is why, and I'll finish with this, Chair, I emphasize the clear pathways, walking back from that, not jumping on specifics, and not seeing the bigger picture, nor providing the support that Canadians deserve.
So, yeah, like, we're really big fans of Rebel News here. I love Rebel News. That's all I mean. My heart is with you guys.
What level of corruption is going on in this Liberal leadership race? 250,000 of 400,000 registered voters have been disqualified by the party. The Liberal Party's almost entirely online leadership voting process is turning into a banana republic-style scandal on the eve of the vote, hinting at backroom deals, voter suppression, and maybe even foreign interference. Elections Canada, the RCMP, and CSIS need to audit this process immediately. Demand transparency and sign the petition at auditcarney.com. Now, here's what we know. The Liberal Party initially boasted about signing up nearly 400,000 members to vote for its next leader. Now, according to the party, only about 150,000 of those registered members have been approved to vote, meaning a shocking 250,000 people have been disqualified. The Liberals turfed outsider leadership candidate Ruby Dalla for vague campaign finance issues and an allegation about a foreign national working on her campaign. But in the meantime, they've conveniently kept all the money she brought in and seem perfectly fine with endorsements from Obama-era Democrat staffers. If almost 2/3 of the registered voters were silenced, was this really an election at all, or just a pre-planned coronation for Mark Carney? Now, who were the 250,000 silenced voters? If the party proudly announced 400,000 registered voters on January 30th, 2025, why were 2/3 disqualified by March 7th, 2025, just hours before the convention? Were they fake accounts, bots, cats and dogs, or foreign nationals? If so, why did the Liberals allow them to register in the first place? Was it to brag about the numbers? Were they real Liberal supporters who just failed some arbitrary verification process? If so, why wasn't that process made transparent to anyone? And what was that process? Or more disturbingly, were these just people the party feared wouldn't vote for Mark Carney? If the Liberals control who gets a ballot, then they control who becomes the Prime Minister. And that should alarm every Canadian, Liberal or not. We already know the fix is in for Mark Carney. He's a private citizen at this point with no seat in the House of Commons, and yet he was given a secret government briefing on U.S. tariffs by Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly when no other candidate received one. They already know who's going to win, whether the voters want him or not. Now, this is the same Liberal playbook we've seen for years. Silence voices that don't fit the agenda, suppress information that exposes their corruption, hide the information that might expose their corruption, and manipulate the processes to maintain control. This isn't just about a party leadership race. Whoever wins this is automatically the next Prime Minister of Canada. This means every Canadian, not just Liberal Party members, should be demanding answers. We know the Chinese government meddled in the last 2 federal elections in favor of the Liberals. And the vulnerabilities in the Liberal nomination processes and the leadership process were laid bare for all of us to see in the Foreign Interference Commission. And none of those vulnerabilities were addressed by the Liberal Party.
We could have a situation here in Canada where a Prime Minister resigns from office, the registered political party conducts an election for the leader. That election, if subject to the same kind of rules that some of the parties have outlined here today and yesterday at the Commission, would result in the appointment of a Prime Minister who does not have a seat in the House of Commons and who was elected through a process that was significantly compromised by non-citizens and by foreign state actors. And so that's why I think, that's why I'm very concerned, not just about some of the evidence that we've heard here in front of the Commission with respect to party nominations, but also how it relates to the appointment of heads of government, particularly the appointment of a Prime Minister by the Governor General.
Who is responsible for disqualifying 250,000 registered voters? The Trudeau Liberals have always rigged the system to protect their own power. They're doing it right now by proroguing Parliament in the middle of a tariff crisis so that they can replace Trudeau. But this time, it's about more than just a party leadership race. It's about whether Canada's next Prime Minister is being chosen by the people who want to be involved in the process or by Liberal Party insiders and foreign interests. Elections Canada, CSIS, and the RCMP all need to do a forensic audit immediately, demand transparency, and sign the petition at auditcarney.com. Canadians need to know the next Prime Minister, whether we like him or not, is legitimate. That is, if Elections Canada can pull some manpower off hunting for illegal books written by journalists critical of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn-Reid.
Let's go for a spin. So, what do you think?
It doesn't matter what you think!
In Canadian federal politics, the Canucks are represented by 2 separate yet unequal groups. The globalists who sold out and the opposition trying to salvage a country. These are their stories. Everyone has an opinion about Canadian federal politics.